Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Adventures of one obsessed nutrition coach on a mission to create a world where food makes us better. Today, guys, getting ready for this episode, I was reading a lot of information about zinc foods, why we need zinc, the role of zinc in our bodies. As a nutritionist, as a nutrition coach, I'm constantly revising this new information, old information, and digging deeper into different details to better understand how different nutrients can affect different aspects of our health, mental and physical. And so today I was reading a lot about zinc. And it's quite fascinating how many roles simple, quote unquote, zinc plays in our bodies. And what's really disturbing is that reports from around the world, from different nutrition food agencies, show that most of the people are deficient in zinc, along with vitamin A, along with iron, along with many other nutrients. But zinc specifically plays, as vitamin A also, plays a crucial role in the way how our body works and specifically how our immune system works. So I'm going to share with you some of the most fascinating and interesting pieces of information that I read about that will help you to better understand how this small micronutrient zinc, this essential mineral, how big of a role it plays in our bodies, in our immune system, and hopefully that will motivate you to eat more of zinc containing foods, and specifically eat the foods that contain zinc in the most absorbable, bioavailable form without causing any harm in our body, without causing any imbalances that can cause health problems. And guys, before we start talking more about the role of zinc plays in our bodies, I often say that whole foods are always better for our body, for our health, to support our mental and physical well-being. But guys, even though supplements are not perfect at all, but they're still better than nothing, especially good quality supplements that are sourced from whole foods, like for example zinc made from oysters, what they call oyster extract. That is still pretty damn good. You know, it's not the best. Whole foods always work the best, and it's harder to balance supplements compared to whole foods, but it's better than nothing. So if you're someone like vegan, vegetarian, or in a part of the world where it's hard for you to get zinc containing foods, then at least do some research about good quality zinc supplements that you can introduce into your diet, because zinc plays a crucial role in your health, mental and physical, in your well-being. And so you need to figure out how to get enough of it, and probably even more is a good idea right now, into your diet. So yeah, supplements are not perfect, but they still work to some extent. And if you have doubts about different supplements or the amount you need or how to take it, you can always reach out. I am available for this kind of specific questions and totally free of charge. So if you have a question about any nutrient, not just zinc, how to get it in your diet, maybe with your specific challenges and difficulties, be that in your environment or in your own health, reach out and I'm going to give you my best advice. So zinc is needed to allow vitamin A and D, that we also know are crucial for our immune system, to allow thyroid hormone, stress hormones, and sex hormones to carry out their functions. Without zinc, we can become resistant to effect of any of those substances, basically our thyroid hormones, our vitamins A and D, and our sex hormones and stress hormones. So it all can get out of balance without proper zinc consumption. Zinc has an especially intimate relationship, guys, with vitamin A. We talked a lot about vitamin A and its crucial role in our immune system and in our health and in our vision also. But if you don't get enough zinc, then you're not going to be able to do much with vitamin A either. So that's why, it's important to look at our meal planning, at our nutrition program more holistically, because a lot of nutrients, we need to get all of them in order to, not all of them, but I mean like different combinations in order for them to work properly. So zinc has an especially intimate relationship with vitamin A. It is required to have it in the blood to activate vitamin A, to use it for vision and for cellular communication. Like magnesium, zinc is needed for the production of a lot of proteins, of all proteins actually. So if you don't get enough zinc, you might not be able to produce a lot of vital proteins. And proteins we need not only to build muscles, we need them to build different enzymes, to build antibodies, to build so many structures in our body that are not just muscles. And so if you're not getting enough zinc, you're not able to build all these structures, and a lot of functions can compromise, and we probably will never know how many of different reactions depend on zinc in our body. So zinc, zinc. It is needed, for example, to defend ourselves against heavy metals. So if you or somebody else will tell you, all these heavy metals in our seafood. Well, actually, in seafood, it's not that much of a concern, because usually most of seafood is quite high in zinc that helps us to detox those heavy metals. What was really interesting to me, besides zinc playing a crucial role in our immune system and having an intimate relationship with vitamin A, without which vitamin A cannot be activated as along with vitamin D actually. So some of our zinc is stored with insulin, and how much of it we don't really know. And what's the problem with that? It's not so much of a problem, but you need to have an awareness that if you have some sort of disorder, like for example, some kind of diabetes or pre-diabetic state, or some other problem with regulation of our blood sugar. So if you have that problem and insulin is involved, insulin is released by the pancreas in response to carbohydrate. And the stored zinc is released with that insulin. So if you know someone, or if you are someone who doesn't have enough insulin to begin with in your body, and some of that zinc is stored with insulin, you might not be able to release that zinc. Or for most people actually who produce too much insulin to bring the blood sugar down, you will be releasing too much zinc and other minerals, peeing them out. And so you might be eating a lot of zinc or supplementing with zinc. But if you have type 2 diabetes, when your body releases too much insulin, all those minerals, all that zinc, you might be just peeing them out. And that might be, who knows, one of the reasons why we see a lot of people with diabetes and similar blood sugar disorders having especially hard time during coronavirus and having more complications than other people. Maybe because of that, maybe they just releasing too many minerals, and that also leads to vitamin A and vitamin D deficiency, because they cannot be activated without zinc. So maybe that causes for them to for people with diabetes and similar issues to have specifically especially a hard time during flu seasons and coronavirus seasons, having complications. So zinc, what makes zinc special also, it is also connected to copper, for example, right? If you are not getting enough copper, or getting too much of it, or you're not getting other minerals in sufficient amounts, that all can cause imbalances with zinc metabolism. And so it is quite hard to balance, unless you are like I'm trying to do, eating a lot of seafood and other foods naturally rich in zinc, and also naturally rich in supporting minerals, especially copper, that has to be consumed with zinc, not maybe in one meal, but throughout the day consistently. So let's start talking about zinc in foods. Now, before we do that, again, let's sum up. Zinc is needed for our immune system and to create all proteins in our body, and proteins needed are not just for muscles, but also for production of hormones, of different reactions in our body, for our digestion to run smoothly. So zinc is linked to activation of vitamin A, vitamin D, that are needed for our immune system. Zinc is needed to create thyroid hormones, stress hormones, and sex hormones. So zinc is quite important. Zinc is needed for cellular communication. Zinc is involved in insulin production and insulin release. So if you are having problems with blood sugar, that might be hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia, that might be diabetes or pre-diabetic state. So zinc deficiency, and along with that vitamin A and vitamin D deficiency, might be a huge issue for you guys. And so then now we're gonna move to our food sources of zinc, and there are many. If you are someone who has the ability to eat one oyster a day, eat it, guys. You know, if I had oysters anywhere at the stores right now, I would eat it, even though, like, honestly, I hate oysters. Like, they make me almost puke. But I would eat it just because they're so high. One oyster, one small oyster, will give you all the vitamin, all the zinc, somewhere around 120% for 32-year female. For guys, it's a little bit less. Percentage wise, it will give you all the vitamin B12, it will give you some copper and some other minerals in just one oyster, one medium oyster, about a little bit more than an ounce, probably ounce and a half, if we take only oyster meat without the shell. So oysters, guys, and the best supplements actually for zinc will be oysters extract in some form or the other. So when you look at different zinc supplements, oyster extract is the best one. So oysters. But if you are like me and you don't have oysters nowhere near you, then probably look at other seafood sources. Like if you, for example, gonna eat a lot of crab, but you need to be eating probably like 300 grams or 10 ounces to get all the zinc you need. The same with mussels. So if you are opting out for other sources of seafood, then you need to eat again like 10 ounces or so per day to get all the zinc, like crab meat, especially mussels meat. Also, things like lobsters, of course, the same as crab meat almost. Then when it comes to seafood, some zinc you'll find even in canned sardines, in canned herring, canned because everything is preserved in a can, bones and skin and all the minerals. So those foods will also contain zinc, although not a lot of it. So oysters again is your best bet. But then beef is quite high actually in zinc, beef, and also dark meat in general. So if you take bison, if you take moose, if you take any other wild game, pork, lamb, to some extent they're also high in zinc, but beef specifically, and specifically lean beef, because the more fat the beef has, the less zinc it has, because zinc seems to be deposited in lean tissue. So if you want to get zinc from your beef, go for the leanest cut, guys. So for example, let's take 100 grams of beef, of regular lean cut of beef, so something average, the leaner the better. So zinc, 4 ounces, 100 grams of it will give you somewhere around 40-50% of your zinc requirements. So double that and you get almost all of the zinc you need per day. So we were talking about lean beef, average cut, 100 grams or 3-4 ounces of beef. And again, guys need a little bit more zinc than women, and I'm talking about my personal requirements being a female of 32 years old. So for me, 100 grams of lean beef will give me 45% of my zinc requirements. And then different cuts again will give you slightly different amount of zinc. The leaner the cut, guys, you want to remember this, and it goes for every meat. The leaner the cut, the leaner, the more zinc you're gonna get. So just remember that. And again, 100 grams, 3-4 ounces of lean beef will give you somewhere around 40-50%, depending on who you are and what kind of beef you're getting. So all the steaks and everything. Turkey, guys, I know that a lot of my friends who are in US right now, you love turkey. So dark turkey meat, that's what you need to choose if you want to get zinc, the most amount of zinc. So 100 grams of dark turkey meat, dark meat, not turkey breast. 100 grams of 3-4 ounces, and you will get 25% of your zinc. Not, the best option, but still a lot, especially if you are not getting any of the other foods that we talked about. So we talked about crabs, for example, 3-4 ounces of crab meat will give you 23%. And so if you eat more of it, of course, you're gonna get more zinc. So moose, for example, if you were curious, 100 grams of moose will give you 23% of your zinc. Not as high as beef, but still pretty good source. Lobster meat, 100 grams, 3-4 ounces, 20% of your zinc. Even, guys, your regular burger meat, one average piece of burger meat will give you 35% of your zinc. And I'm talking about beef burger, not some weird vegetarian substitution or something else. About lab meat, I'm not even sure what nutrients are there when it comes to micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins, so I have no idea. But for vegan and vegetarian meat substitutions made of beans, there is probably some zinc because they are made from some sort of beans. But studies show when you eat your zinc from non-animal sources, from plant sources, from beans, from nuts and seeds, from some whole grains, you actually absorb less zinc, and some nutrients or anti-nutrients in beans, in nuts and seeds, in grains will actually prevent your body from absorbing zinc by binding that zinc to those anti-nutrients. And again, it has something to do with plant biology, quote unquote, because plants don't really have biology because they're not, well, maybe they do, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on plants, but anyhow, when you eat your zinc from plant sources, and that goes also for all sorts of fake meats made of beans, then your actual zinc requirements might increase because you might be binding that available zinc to those anti-nutrients and removing it from your system. So be aware of fake meat, and if you want to get your zinc from burger, then go for the real zinc. And again, an average beef burger, the leaner the better, will give you 35% of your zinc requirements. Now, another food kind of high, really high in zinc is, I never tried them, but I actually saw them at the stores here in Russia, in Siberia. So I'm gonna get it tomorrow and gonna cook it on my Instagram. So stay tuned for that because it's quite an interesting food. And that food it's seafood, and it's whelks. So it's kind of like sea snail. That's what it looks like. I actually, when I saw that, I thought those were snails. I didn't know they were sea snails. And that per 100 grams of those sea snails, or 3-4 ounces, they actually have 96% of my zinc requirement. They have 507% of copper, they have 28% of magnesium, they have 40% of omega-3s, they have 64% of selenium, and 525% of vitamin B12, and besides all a whole range of other nutrients. But yeah, quite a mighty food for zinc too. So I'm gonna be opting out for whelks probably. They are the second richest source in zinc, and it's their seafood, their sea snails. So 100 grams, 3-4 ounces will give you 96% of your zinc, guys. So look for sea snails, also high in zinc and copper and many other minerals and nutrients that are essential for our health. So let's take one of my favorite foods to eat on any day of the year is canned sardines. So canned sardines, one average can of sardines with bones and skins will give us 15% of our zinc. Not a lot, but not bad if you are a fan of sardines. And that average can usually has somewhere around 3 ounces of fish. And try to find the one either in brine or in olive oil. Now, so we kind of talked about seafood and beef, especially lean beef, oysters, whelks or sea snails. We talked about mussels and crab meats. If those are your foods of choice for zinc, then you need to be eating like 10 ounces of that. For beef, as we talked, 40-50% you're gonna get from 3-4 ounces. Of 2 of those will almost cover your zinc requirements. Now, let's get to plant sources. When it comes to plant sources, guys, again, things like whole grains, beans, what else? Nuts and seeds. A lot of them will have anti-nutrients that will bind to your zinc and take it out of your system. So there are quite a few theories that when you're getting your zinc from those sources, you might actually end up being deficient. That how much those foods tend to bind our zinc. The same goes for rice, for example, guys. But there are some vegetables, not a lot of them that have a considerable amount of zinc, and you as a vegetarian, a vegan, can get that zinc from those vegetables, and they do not have those anti-nutrients as do beans, grains, and nuts and seeds. So one of those vegetables, palm hearts. I used to love buying palm hearts in Switzerland. Like, we don't have them in Russia, but if you are somewhere where you can get palm hearts, then get them. So get this, guys, 100 grams of palm hearts or 3-4 ounces will give you somewhere around 30% of your zinc, and with just 115 calories. Now, it seems to matter whether they're canned or you cook them yourself. So if you cook them yourself, there tend to be more minerals. If they're canned, then you're gonna get less minerals. And it seems to be because of a lot of minerals leak into the water in a can. So if you consume that water, in theory, you're gonna get all the zinc still. So if you going for canned, maybe use that water in a can to cook with it or something else, and that's how you're gonna get all your zinc. So again, 3-4 ounces, 100 grams of palm hearts and 115 calories will give you 30% of your zinc without all the anti-nutrients. Now let's go to more of plant sources. So for example, sesame seeds are flour. 30 grams of that flour will give you 26% of your zinc, and sesame seeds do not have a lot of anti-nutrients. So sesame seeds flour. Then when it comes to beans, guys, if you do want to get your zinc from beans, first of all, you need to soak those beans overnight, remove the water, and cook them for like 90 minutes to remove as many anti-nutrients as possible. And then you eat them. And so for adzuki beans, for 120 grams or 4 ounces, you're gonna get 41% of your zinc. So adzuki beans, guys, but cook them properly. And if you buy them in a can, baked, make sure that company you're buying them from, they also soak them. There are some companies that do that, but not a lot of them. And that matters, guys, because the more you soak and cook beans, the less anti-nutrients they have. The anti-nutrients that will take your zinc away, not give it to you. So adzuki beans, but again, make sure that they are properly cooked. Now, one egg yolk, for example, guys, will give you 7% of your zinc. So not a lot, but another good thing going for eggs, but egg yolk, I'm talking about specifically egg yolk. Egg white will have none of the zinc. What else? When it comes to tubers, taro root actually has quite some zinc without too many anti-nutrients. So 120 grams, 4 ounces of taro root boiled. And then, you probably also have to consume the liquid, so better bake them. Taro root, 120 grams, 4 ounces, 12% of your zinc requirements. Not a lot, so I would probably not go for taro root, but instead, if I had to eat vegetables, I would eat palm hearts. I would eat probably adzuki beans, but I would make sure that I would cook them properly. Sesame flour is also quite high. Then if you're someone who loves cheddar cheese, 40 grams or a little bit more than an ounce will give you 13% of your zinc if you're someone who still eats dairy. I hope you do not eat a lot of it, since it seems to have negative health consequences. What else, guys? Well, that's about it. So what you want to remember, actually, I wanted to mention cashew nut, my favorite nut ever. 1 ounce of cashew nuts, roasted cashew nuts, will give you 14% of your zinc. Plus, it will give you a good amount of copper that you also need for your zinc to function properly. So to sum up the vegetarian vegan part of zinc and copper, palm hearts is your best source. Again, 100 grams, 3-4 ounces, and you're gonna get 30% of your zinc requirement with just 115 calories. You can also get and cook some adzuki beans properly. So 4 ounces of your adzuki beans will give you 40% of your zinc. So adzuki beans 40%, palm hearts 30%, but palm hearts do have less anti-nutrients, so they're still better deal. Sesame seeds flour, 30 grams of which will give you, and let me check it again, 26% of your zinc. And yep, guys, that's about it for plant sources. Again, let's remember that the best sources are oysters. 1 oyster will give you more than enough per day. If I had them around me, I would eat 1 oyster every single day. Then beef. The leaner the beef, the more zinc you're gonna get. Somewhere around 40% you're gonna get from 3-4 ounces of lean beef. And 1 beef burger, the leaner the better, will give you somewhere around, let me check again, burgers, zinc 35%, so a little bit less than beef itself, probably because of other stuff that is added. And don't forget that fake burgers will have none or very little. Whelks, another great food, or sea snails for zinc. So 100 grams will give you 96% of your daily zinc requirement. So oysters, sea snails, or whelks, beef, then a lot of other seafood like crab meat, mussels meat will give you also a portion of your zinc. And don't forget, guys, zinc plays a crucial role in a lot of processes, and it allows our bodies to assimilate, to absorb, to use, to activate vitamin A, vitamin D. Zinc needed to create all of the protein, thyroid hormones, sex hormones, stress hormones. So we need zinc for a lot of functions. So guys, get it in your foods. This is the best option. The second best option is oyster extract, and then after that you get all the other supplements the more natural they are, the better they're going to be absorbed and used by your body. But don't forget to balance it out with copper and other minerals. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for doing your best to eat for your health, for your wellness, for your well-being, because that's how you can be your best and contribute to a better world around us and support others on their journey, others who might be experiencing different difficulties and challenges right now. So eat better, share this podcast with people who also need this information, who also need to support their health and the health and the world of people around us. So share this episode. Keep eating better every day. And thank you, guys. Thank you for staying with me. We can get through it. Together, we can.